work in construction, my other job. And I don't know if anyone's ever been on a construction site and had a look in a skip, but there's often lots of materials left over at the end that probably still could be used for good use, but the construction company doesn't need them anymore, and they're just those leftover bits and pieces. And for the builders, it's really hard to find like a useful like place to put them and to put them to good use. So a lot of the time they end up going in skips, and of course, like, we don't like waste. Like, lots of people probably do recycling and have probably done things about reducing waste at home, and the construction industry makes quite a lot of waste, and we need to do a lot to get better at reducing how much waste there is. So Rebuild set up, and what we do is we work with the construction companies or the housing developers. Like Gleeson, actually last year were one of our I saw David on the calls. Gleeson, I think, in fact, we're our first ever to sign up, so that was good. And we work with them, and when they have leftover stuff on the site, they give us a call, and we go and pick it up in our trailer, and we bring it back to the shop, and then we either give it for free to community projects, and actually schools can access free materials. So maybe some of you are at schools that have had things from Rebuild, or we sell it to people doing like DIY or building something or doing something in the garden. And then the money that we make from the sales, we use to do even more stuff with schools, and we use to maybe try and work out, well, why do those materials go to waste in the first place? And can we work maybe with the contractors to help think about how we might avoid it going to waste ever? Yeah, and so that's what we do. We also do paint. So paint is a big thing that goes to waste. So companies like Dulux, if they've got, maybe for whatever reason, maybe the label's out of date or something, and they can't sell it in their shop, instead of it being incinerated, they give it to us and we sell it from here, so that makes sure then that pit's still getting used. Yeah, and that's us. That's Rebuild. So I mean, how are we going to take questions here, Sarah?
Yeah, thank you, Emma. I was going to say, right. So I'm sure we've got lots and lots of questions, and it was really, really good to sort of get an insight again into, you know, what you do at Rebuild and what a social enterprise is, because it's almost like a bit of a superhero business, isn't it? It's a special company that tries to do good things, you know, for the people and the community, whilst all, and in the, you know, around Cumbria, whilst also making some money. And so this is what we hope that these guys are going to do, to either make, you know, use their profits to do good things, or actually, you know, developing a service or a product that's actually going to help people to do good and things like that. They use so it's great to hear. I know you know you do a lot of great work, so that's really, really great to hear. Now we haven't got any pre-planned questions, so there could be a tumbleweed moment, in which case, you know, but I think there could be lots of questions from these budding entrepreneurs. I did need to, Hazel's keeping me right though, and she's just reminded me that I needed to say we are recording it, because there are some schools that have sent their apologies, but that did want to us to send them this footage today of Emma and some of the questions that you might ask, so that they can get some top tips. So just checking that if there's any, just making sure we've got permissions from the schools and things as well. If there's any issues or problems, then just get in touch with me outside of this meeting before we send it on, and we'll see what we can do. We'll make sure that we can blank some screens and things like that. So anyway, you guys, you must be super excited to start this Bright Stars competition, and it is run as a competition because you guys, each week we want to see your weekly updates on what you've been doing, and then at the end of it we're going to have like a panel of judges that have got the impossible task of, we've got some nice prize categories: best example of teamwork and leadership, best logo, best community engagement, most profitable you know, social enterprise. There's lots of different prize categories. So each week we want you to send us a lovely update of what you've maybe learned and what category you might want to go for, and some nice photographs as well. But I'm going to hand to you guys to ask some questions that you might have for Emma. So I think it's a case of how do we want to run this? Yes, if we've got a school teacher, maybe the teacher that's got a question, you can take yourself off mute and we can come to you and we can ask the question, and maybe the children can maybe come to the front of the screen if it's a question from them, or it could be a question from the teacher or one of the businesses on the call. So do we have any questions at all? We can put some in the chat. I know some of you have said that you haven't got sound and a bit of a poor connection. Emma, I have one question to start with. So obviously when you're setting up a business, it's quite hard, isn't it? You know, how did you go about kind of, you had your idea, but how did you go about, you know, setting it up? And did you have to, you know, pulling together kind of partners and a plan and funding and just to try and get it off the ground? How did you first go about it?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is like a clear purpose. Like we knew really early on what our purpose was about reducing waste in construction and like getting materials to community projects. So our purpose was nice and clear early on. And then I'd been thinking about it for years, and then just sort of decided one day I was going to do it myself. So the first thing I did was spoke to a load of people who I knew would have something that I didn't know much about. So I spoke to someone who worked in like a community organization because I didn't know much about that. I knew somebody who worked in retail because we're a shop and I didn't know much about retail. I spoke to somebody like environmental. So I thought about, well, which elements of this do I not know? And how do I speak to someone who knows lots about this so that they could tell me what I was missing or what I was gonna get wrong, or where really testing the idea a lot with everyone, and asking everyone to tell, and as well really kind of encouraging people to say, tell me if this is not going to work, tell me what I don't know, like that kind of trying to get people to tell me what I didn't know early on.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's really good tips. So being really clear on the purpose, what you're actually trying to achieve, and then actually, speaking to people that can help you, that have got that area of expertise. And hopefully for you guys as schools, you've got the business coming in to help you to develop little marketing plans, and are experts maybe in marketing and finance and things like that as well. So, but you can bring in like other people as well to help with that. We have got a question in the chat. So what would you do if your project, for example, wasn't bringing in any money? Or have you come to that yet, where you've maybe had that? And
yeah, so our first year running, we didn't make enough money, but we set off without very many costs early on. So the place we ran for, they didn't charge us rent for the first year. So Kingmore Park, our landlord, really helped us that first year. So before we knew if it was going to make money, because at the start we didn't know, we didn't know if it was going to or not. So we were really careful to not spend too much money before we knew whether we were going to make any money. So we really, like, for example, our office that I'm sitting in, when we got the keys to this room, in fact, I'll show you the office. When we got the keys to this room, it was really like dirty, all run down, all like horrible little dirty storeroom full of cobwebs and dust and dirt, and not very nice at all. And we did it up ourselves, but we did it up all with free stuff. We only spent £30 on the office, and you can see, I don't know if you can see, we've got like this room here.
wow,
where I'm sat, and all of it was things that was either on FreeCycle or Freegal or people were giving away. These desks were in a skip. We painted them. Our ceiling was a fence. Somebody was throwing away these lights. A company was getting rid of these chairs. Our wall is a pallet. So we really tried to be creative and think about, well, how do we do something good without spending money before we know it, because we didn't know if we had any money early on. And now often as well, social enterprises can get access to like grant funding. So like maybe like the lottery, for example, gave us some funding for the tool library, but Rebuild actually didn't have much grant funding at the start. We got some later, we got some some lottery funding to do the tool library, but we were just careful to kind of do it slowly and test what we could do. And then I think as well with our materials, like we kind of try and figure out what's going to work and what is it, and some of it we learn as we go along.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So the office looks fabulous, and I think that's really good advice, because I think when you guys have that £50 and you don't know if you've got to try and invest in maybe materials and things or whatever it might be to get your business off the ground, it's thinking creatively around how you could use that, because rather than necessarily going out and spending all that £50 at once, like Emma said, you might actually want to write some letters to some local businesses, because if you were putting on events and running a service and you needed catering and things, rather than using your £50 to buy the biscuits and buy the teas and coffees, there might be like a local supermarket or a company that might give you that free. Or if you're setting up a community garden, you might be able to write to a company that might donate plants or tubs. So when you get this £50, you can start using, really think creatively. You might not have to dip into it as much as you think. So I think that's really good advice there, to sort of, because you don't know if you're going to make money yet.
And I would say, like, if you're asking for things for free, like, if you're really clear on what your purpose is and what you can bring, that makes it easier. So say if we were going to a company, well, let's say with the early contractors, we're going to them saying, you know, would you like us to pick up your surplus material? Well, we're really thinking about, well, what's in it for them? Like, why is that good for them? So they're saving money on skips, so they save a bit of money by sending their materials for us. But we'll also make sure, like, we'll thank them on Facebook, and we'll give them a copy of our community impact report, and so that then they can see the benefits of what they're doing. So maybe if you were wanting to ask for something for a business, you could say, like, in return, they'll get a thank you letter or a certificate or a thank you on Facebook, like giving them something back to say thank you. That'll go a long way to get people to help.
Definitely. Yeah, or their logo on something, if you're producing like a calendar or a cookbook, where you might be pulling together family affordable recipes to sort of, you know, then maybe, we could have your logo on the cookbook and things like that. So yeah, they're all really good tips. So yeah, make it clear on the benefits of the people that maybe you're asking in terms of some of those freebies. I think we've got another question in the chat here in terms of, what sort of projects have you helped other schools with in the past using recycled materials, Emma?
Yeah, so lots of schools have got the like the scrap play type packs from us. So like, especially younger children, you know, like where you get just random bits of sort of pipe and gutter and materials, so that kids can use creative play. A lot of schools have had, recently we've had, you know, the Perspex sheets that companies used for COVID protection. Lots of them have gone to schools because they're quite cool to paint on outside. So seen lots of them being painted on at schools. We've also done quite a few projects with schools, maybe wanting to do like a wildlife garden or bird boxes or a hedgehog house or something for maybe wildlife and something in the space, and we can provide materials for that. What else? And then we've also done some for schools where they needed some materials to make a pathway and to make the accessibility better to a garden that they already had, and we were able to provide the materials for that. So they've been the main things.
Oh, that's really good to know, because I think there's definitely one school I know about, without giving away anybody's sort of, you know, people keep quite secret about some of their ideas if they've got some already. But I think one was looking at sort of improving the wildlife coming to the local area, and so therefore making bird boxes and selling things like that. So yeah, that's a really good good fit. So I've just got another couple of questions in the chat, which are probably more just aimed at the Bright Stars in general, which is, so how long does the project go on for? So in terms of your Bright Stars project, you might have met your business mentors already, but if not, hopefully that will be next week. And then you'll be able to start using that £50 as of Monday. And then you've got till the 11th of December to actually, you know, come up with your ideas and start potentially trading and actually getting it off the ground. But that's not to say that once you've done that, you can't continue to kind of, you know, evolve and strengthen and develop your social enterprise ideas and what you're doing. So the project can go on longer than the scheme itself, but you've got eight weeks, and at the end of that, you send us your final update of how much money that you've made and what you've done. And then in January, when we get back after Christmas, we'll have a big celebration event with everybody where we're going to award certificates and just celebrate everybody's achievements. What other have there been, Emma, have there been other things in the past? What things have you found really tough? You know, what things have you found challenging that maybe you didn't even think would be challenging?
For us, the toughest thing that we still haven't fixed is keeping track of like how much material we've had and what it is and where it's from. And we thought that would be easy. We thought that would be just a matter of like tracking things as it comes in. But the problem is we have so much stuff coming in and we don't know what it's going to be until it arrives. That actually finding a sensible system of like capturing how much materials we've had and how much carbon is in those materials has been really hard. And that matters to us. I'll give you a quick example. I've been to see a company this morning that make handles and hinges and door handles and door fixtures and fittings. And they've said, would you like, we've got a load of kind of ones that we don't use, but like they've been maybe in a show home or they've just been, the packaging's damaged. Would you like them? And the box looks like this. So beginning to count how many handles are in there and how many hinges and how much it's worth and what the carbon is not an easy task. We can't just kind of type in 10 handles. So that's been for us the hardest thing, is being captured. And I think it's really important to try and keep track of what we've done, because those businesses that supported us and that might support you early on, and like, and if you had, for us, if we had grant funding, they want to know like how much have we done, how much work have we done. So we know we've done about 600 tons of materials so far, but I would love to break that down into exactly what the carbon is, but I can't because we've not got really good detail on every single thing.
Okay, so that sort of links to your project, guys, in terms of just keeping on track of what, you know, what you're spending, what you might be needing to buy, your materials, your stock, if you're making products and you're asking for donations. Yeah, making sure that you're keeping a note of who's helped with that, so you can send thank yous out and maybe send them, we can send them an invitation to the celebration event and they can continue those links with your school. Yeah, no, that's a really, really good a good tip as well. One of the other things from Emily at Thursby, how do you make a profit, Emma?
We sell our materials like builders merchants, but it's reduced less than you would buy elsewhere. But our profit comes from selling materials that we collect from the construction sites. We've got stuff to sell that no one else, that was going to waste, so that's how it works.
Okay, and as you say, you're selling those products, and it
can you hear me?
We can, yeah. I think there was a little bit of a, I don't know if it was just on my side of things, but we just had a little bit of a, we lost you for a bit, Emma.
Oh, I was saying, so I was answering the question about profit. So we sell the materials that we collect from sites. So we give them for free to community projects, but we sell them to just general public like a normal shop, but nicer.
Yeah, brilliant. And that's how you sort of make some money as well to reinvest back into the business and things. Yeah. Are there any, I know that there's a question more around sort of what have been some of the more successful projects in the past and things like that. And I guess I could answer some of those things. I think all of the program, all of whatever you choose to do, it's got to be something that, you know, you guys drive. Well, you know, what do you want to make better? What do you want to change? And that could be for your school, for your community. It could be the environment. It could be a whole range of things. But just to give you an example of what some other pupils have done in previous years is we've had schools this year that decided they wanted to spread messages of positivity and kindness. So they ended up by that was their sort of their clear purpose. And then as a result of that, they decided to make some tie-dye t-shirts, and they put those messages on the t-shirts, and then they worked out, because they wanted to make a profit, they worked out how much those t-shirts cost to make, who would do the tie-dyeing. So I think they even had a little production team who probably got very messy. And they also, and then they were able to sell those. So the marketing team had to think about, how are we going to sell those? How do we make people aware of our product? So they set up a Facebook page, and they also had like an ordering system, and they had a coffee morning where they took their t-shirts and they sold them, and they also served teas and coffees at the same time, and they made money from that. So that was a really good example of one of the business ideas. And then we've had others where we had a school that wanted to encourage everyone to get a bit fitter and a bit healthier. So the children ended up organising exercise classes for the parents and for the pupils. And then they actually had an expert that came in to help them, to sort of tell them what sort of movements they would have to make and what those sessions could look like. And then they put on those exercise classes, and they charged money for that. And so that was from the service that they were providing. They were doing good things in the community. So that was another really successful one. And then we've had others where, you know, things are getting really expensive, especially food. And so we had a school that wanted to help to show parents what affordable meals they could make and cook. So they asked the parents what favourite recipes and things they liked, and what were reasonably priced and what were tasty. And then they put together a cookbook, and they charged money for the cookbooks, and that's how they made a profit. So there's some examples of what other school children that, you know, have done in the past. Others have had like events and things. So maybe they've wanted to address loneliness in the community and actually get some of the older people and bring in some of the community to the school and hold like regular coffee mornings each week. And then when you're at the coffee mornings, maybe play some games and have like charge for teas and coffees and cakes. And that's how you can generate a profit from those sorts of things. And I know that that particular school is still running those. And then some of the older community were also coming in and helping the children share their knowledge on some of the things that they've done in the past, like years ago, and help with some of your topic work. So it was for mutual benefit. It was really, really successful. So yeah, you've got an opportunity, guys, to do whatever you want to do in those 8 weeks, with the support of your fabulous mentors from business as well. So do we have it? Oh, over to you, Emma. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, like, for us as well, like, we often think about other, like, we try and just stick to construction because that's what we're supposed to do. But because like of what we're doing, and because we do, like, we often see other places where we see waste that we think, oh, maybe we could do that. Like, we were talking the other day about like arts and crafts, like leftovers. Like, often people have like broken crayons and half books of like, there's often waste art and product, isn't there? And then there's a company in Kendal called Ragtag that's like a scrap store that brings together scraps, and then they sell them as craft things. Or we were looking the other day at like the sawdust from a sawmill that was used for something else. Or so it might be interesting to say, like, where is there something that someone else's waste that could be put into a good use, that it's like around reducing waste and you've got a product you can sell. It might be quite an interesting thing.
Oh yeah, that's a really good idea. Another one that springs to mind, we had a school that wanted to do to look at cleaning up the beaches, and did a big beach clean. And then what they found, they made products. They also did pebble art and things like that, and they sold that. So yeah, that was a really, really good way of just promoting that cause as well.
The
fact that you need to do that.
children, our paper here in the office is, I've got 3 children. They go to Kirkbampton. Well, they don't go anymore, but now they go to Nelson Tom and Kirkbampton. But their school books at the end of the year, I want to keep the work they've done, but often the back. Oh, is that Kirkbampton there?
Yeah, giving some big cheers. I see that.
Oh, was that I didn't realise Kirkbampton was here. Well, hi Kirkbampton. But the back of the exercise book's always like half empty, isn't it? Like they don't write the full book often. And so all our note paper at Rebuild is just those blank pages that I pull out of the exercise books. So like that's like something going to waste. So whether that paper could be used to make something, to make new notebooks, or to make writing books or art books or something, like I bet every child has got an exercise book with half blank pages at the end of the year. So that might be something that someone might want to do.
Definitely. And also maybe there's, when you're thinking, if you do go down the product route, or you might offer a product and a service and hold some events, there might be things that your school's already doing. So if the PTA are having a Christmas fair, maybe you could ask to have a stall at that fair. Or if it's something linked to something else that's already happening in the school, maybe there's something that where you can get involved as well. So really think creatively about how you can, if it is a product, how you can get out there, how you can sell it. What are the things that are already happening in the school? Are there any local markets as well? I know we had Branstey School making Branstey biscuits one year, and they gave a lot of their biscuits to free biscuits to local care homes, but they also sold some, and they went down to the Whitehaven markets, and they also approached the supermarkets and the local shops to stock them as well. So and because it was, and they still have that business, they just theme the biscuits. So when it's Christmas, they're Christmas shaped biscuits, and when it's Easter, they're egg shaped biscuits and rabbit shaped biscuits. So yeah, you could theme it around, you know, what's going on at that time of year as well. There's lots of ideas. It's all very, very exciting. And then, are there any other questions from anybody on the chat? I can't see all the boxes, but I can see what's being written in the chat box. Are you all excited? That's what we need to know. Are you going to take yourself off mute, and if you're excited, I want a big cheer. Oh yeah! And I'd be keen to know, have any of you got any ideas already about what you might want to do? Is anybody wanting to share that, or is it all top secret at the moment? Sometimes at the start of the program, none of the schools want to sort of tell the other schools what they're all doing. But you'll be able to go online every single week and check what all the other schools are doing as well. So if you've put on some updates, you can go and check what all the other schools are doing as well, because you're part of like a bigger scheme. I think we've got about just under 30 schools taking part in this October Bright Stars programme this year. So that's absolutely fantastic from across all of Cumbria, actually. So we've got a couple of schools in Barrow and Wigton and Carlisle and West Cumbria as well. And as Emma said, if anyone wants to find out more about Rebuild, they also have a website and Facebook and Instagram as well. So you can and maybe get in touch with Rebuild if you've got an idea, and having heard what Emma said, you've maybe got some ideas of materials that they could help with. And they've got a fabulous shop in Carlisle as well that I keep saying to Emma that I'm going to visit, and I haven't got round to visiting yet, but I will definitely come.
You promised me the last time I saw you.
This is true. Have we got any questions from our wonderful business volunteers either, or any top tips that you can offer the children? I'm putting you on the spot there. I'm scrolling through the questions and the chat just to check that I haven't missed anything. Okay, you've all gone. Well, you're on mute, aren't you? We've had some really, really good questions though. So I'm just checking that I'm answering them all because there have been some coming in the chat. Oh, we've got some new here. Okay. So we've got a couple. Oh, okay. So in terms of the shop, Emma, if one of the schools wants to come and visit, what's the best thing for them to do? To get in touch with you and organise a time?
Yeah, well, we're open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 10 till 4, and Sunday, 10 till 1. There's on the website, there's a section about how community organisations can apply for fee materials, and there's a form to fill in on that page on the website. But if they wanted to do a specific visit and wanted like us to kind of show them around, then yeah, just email or Facebook is probably the easiest way.
Okay, and we can help with some of that as well. If the schools get in touch, then we've got Emma's details as well. So that's great. That's really
Kirkbampton could just ask Matthew.
And another question, Emma, is what made you want to start this job?
Yeah, so my other job, I'm managing director at Story, and in the construction industry, there's lots and lots of stuff that ends up going in a skip, and I care a lot about the planet and sustainability, and so I didn't like to see it going to waste, and I thought maybe I can do something to fix that. And I think as well, when Cumbria flooded, Story did a lot of community projects, and Story get involved in lots of community things, and so kind of was aware, especially during COVID, the price of materials went up, and so lots of community projects couldn't afford to buy things anymore, and so it seemed like we could maybe do a bit more to help at the same time as reduce the stuff that was going to waste. So yeah, just saw a problem and was sick of it not being fixed and thought I'll fix it myself.
Yeah, that's often the way, isn't it? And
although
I think
it's probably worth saying it's not by myself. Like Rebuild would not exist if it wasn't for the rest of the team. Like we're a very, very good team here. I've got Maisie, Helen, Debbie and Sarah. Without them, I wouldn't be doing very much.
That's a really good tip as well, because as part of your project, guys, you've all got to work as a team to really make this happen. So you and your classmates, you've really got to think about sort of how you'll work together, and you'll all have different skills. So, you know, if some of you are really, really good at art and things like that, maybe you want to get involved in like the marketing element of things. And I bet we've got some really keen mathematicians here in the room as well. And you know, you're going to need to look at how you manage your £50, and then if you're making something, how much you need to charge to make a profit. So, you know, if that's what you're interested in, you could form sort of part of the finance team. And then, you know, and if you're really organised, then you could potentially be there helping to project manage the scheme as well. So I think you've all got to work really, really well as a team. Listen to one another, listen to everybody's ideas, and recognise that we've all got different strengths and different skills to bring to this project to make it a success. So you'll do great. And there is loads and loads of resources and materials. So after this, we've got the businesses coming in to help you approach it like you would a business, and getting you to think about some of these things and brainstorming some sessions, some ideas with you, and then just helping you guys put that into a little bit of a plan so that you can then make that a reality. But the ideas are endless, and there's loads of resources. There's a slide on what's a social enterprise. It could, and with loads and loads of examples. There's videos on the website for you to watch as well. So if you want to be inspired, there's also loads of information about what previous schools have done over the years. So you can get lots and lots of ideas, but really have a think. Back to Emma's main tip, have a purpose. You know, what would you like to sort, what would you like to make better? What would you like to change? and base your business around that. So with some sort of really clear purpose, and then think about how you make a profit as part of that. And I think there's some really, really good tips. So have a purpose, speak to other people that can help, which are your business mentors, but there might be other people, your parents that you want to speak to, other people, your team, your classmates, all listen to one another. Think creatively about how you use the £50. Maybe don't spend it all at once. You can make some, reinvest some. Write to companies, you know, to get some freebie things that you might need, but be clear on the benefits to those businesses about why they should give you that free product and what you might do in return, like a thank you letter or putting their logo on something, inviting them to the coffee morning if you're having one of those. Keep track of all your materials and your costs. And yeah, more importantly as well, really sort of work together as a team and support one another, because it's quite tough, isn't it, running a business? It can be a lot of fun, but I'm sure Emma will agree it can be hard work.
My other job, yeah, but I love Rebuild. It's just great. I'm happy to be here. There's no problems at Rebuild. It's lovely. My other job, maybe not quite so easy, but no, Rebuild's super. I love it.
And that's probably because of that passion about the purpose and what you're trying to actually achieve as part of the business.
Yeah, and our customers are amazing, and our supporters have been great, and the rest of the team are brilliant. Like, there's nothing about it that I don't love. It's great. Love my job.
So there's nothing, because one of the questions is, what's the struggle of your job?
I mean, my other job is maybe another session, but for this one, it's just great. I guess the only struggle with Rebuild is that there's so many ideas and so much we want to do that we can't do it all. And a little bit, the more you see how much waste there is, the more you realize how big the problem is maybe the worst bit.
Yeah, and it's maybe then knowing that you can't necessarily do everything and keeping that focus and being really good at the things that you are doing, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a balance though, isn't it? It's gotta be,
we're a little bit like that. So I think looking at we've got 10 more minutes, but first of all, a big thank you to Emma. It's been great that you've been able to come along and share some really good tips, which are hopefully then going to be used and thought about when these guys are putting their social enterprise plans together. That's been absolutely fantastic. So thanks very much, Emma. Round of applause for Emma. We'll all cheer. Yay, thank you. And I know you're all on mute, so you can't hear them. Brilliant. Well, I know you've got to get on to some other lessons now. Just have a great time. We're here. If you've got any issues, any problems, then speak to us, teachers. We're here for you. Businesses, the same. There's all the resources online. Everything's online. For those schools that haven't sent back consent forms, we just need those, because obviously the pictures that you send through each week, we assume that you've got permission. We've got permissions and things. That's just on a really practical level. And you should have all had your £50 going into your school bank account so that the children can start using those to actually set up their own mini social enterprises. So all I guess that is there for me to say is have fun, you know, and good luck. Yeah, good luck. And we can't wait to start seeing these updates and hearing what you're going to be doing as part of your making a profit, making a difference, Bright Stars. So thanks, guys, and have a fabulous weekend as well. Okay.
Bye. Bye.